In the Grand Galactic Council Hall, a massive chamber floating at the center of the galaxy, 12 towering banners hung from the ceiling, symbols of 12 great species who ruled the stars. Marble floors glowed with golden light, and thousands of delegates sat in perfect rows, confident, proud, and certain that nothing in the universe could threaten their power. They believed they were untouchable, unstoppable, eternal. And standing at the center was the council speaker, smiling with arrogance. To him, the galaxy was safe, the galaxy was controlled, and the galaxy feared only the council. But that day, 5 ancient elders were summoned. Being so old their eyes carried memories older than civilizations, older than wars, older than recorded time. They moved slowly, dressed in dark robes, leaning on silver staffs that echoed with every step. The entire room fell silent, not out of respect, but amusement. The council thought the elders were relics, fossils, harmless old minds stuck in outdated legends. The speaker smirked and said, "State your warning, elders. Entertain us." His voice held mockery, and laughter rippled through the chamber. The elders did not smile. The oldest among them lifted his staff, voice trembling not with weakness but with fear. "If humans ever return," he said softly, "the galaxy will kneel." The room exploded with laughter. Delegates held their chests, wiping tears from their eyes. The speaker leaned back and laughed louder than all. Humans? The primitive animals? The extinct species? The weak creatures who once begged for technology? The council had erased humans from history 5,000 years ago. Humans were nothing. Humans were myths. Humans were gone. One council member shouted through laughter, "Humans could barely leave their planet." Another added, "If they returned, we would leash them like pets." The chamber roared. Mockery, ridicule, pride. The elders stood silently, eyes filled not with anger, but sorrow. They had seen what no one else remembered. They had witnessed humanity once, long, long ago, before the council erased every record. They knew the truth. The second elder whispered, voice shaking, "Humans are not weak. Humans adapt. Humans evolve. Humans do the impossible." But the council only laughed harder. The speaker waved them off. "There is no threat. Humans are extinct. The galaxy belongs to us." The third elder raised his head, eyes burning with pain. "You did not destroy them," he said. "You provoked them." Silence tried to enter the room, but laughter crushed it. The speaker declared, "This meeting is over. Remove these storytellers." Guards stepped forward, grabbing the elders by their arms. But before they could be dragged away, the chamber lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then everything went dark. The laughter died. The silence was sudden, cold, and terrifying. Emergency lights flickered back on, and every holoscreen in the chamber glowed with one message: distress signal detected. The room buzzed with confusion. The speaker frowned. "From where?" A trembling technician answered, "Deep space. Sector 9X, the Lost Rim." Delegates exchanged confused glances. That region was empty, dead, uninhabited. Nothing lived there. Nothing could. The technician continued, voice cracking, "The signal is coded in an ancient language." The elders stiffened. The speaker snapped, "Translate it." The technician swallowed hard. "Sir, the language is human." The room froze. Even the arrogant smiles vanished. The signal crackled through the speakers, distorted, broken, drenched in static. But 3 words emerged, sharp enough to slice through the silence. "They are coming." A shockwave of fear slammed through the chamber. Delegates rose to their feet, panic creeping into their eyes. The speaker tried to regain control. "Humans cannot return. They are gone. This is a trick." But before he finished, every star map in the chamber lit up with alarms. Red alert. Multiple system failures. Energy spike. Mass disappearance. Officers scrambled, claws and hands flying across consoles. One screamed, "Sir, Sector 9X just went dark." Dark. As in gone, sir. The entire star system just vanished. The speaker shook his head. Impossible. Systems do not vanish. But the data was clear. 1 star, 9 planets, 16 moons, hundreds of mining stations, 3 research colonies. All gone. No debris, no explosion, no radiation. Just emptiness. As if someone erased the system from existence. The council chamber fell silent. Truly silent. Not a breath. Not a heartbeat. Not a whisper. The elders closed their eyes. The oldest one whispered, barely audible. This is only the beginning. Delegates shook with fear. The speaker's voice broke, trembling for the first time. What could do that? The 4th elder looked up, eyes filled with ancient horror. Humans. The speaker snapped. Humans never had that power. The elder replied, voice cold as death, they didn't. But they learned. Another officer screamed, Sir, we're receiving a second signal. The speaker stammered, from the vanished system. No, sir. The officer's voice shook. From the space where the system used to be. The signal played. Soft, slow, calm. A voice. A human voice. We warned you. Delegates collapsed to their knees. The speaker trembled, unable to speak. The elders opened their eyes, and the 5th elder whispered the words that shattered the galaxy's pride. Humans do not die. Humans prepare. Then, every star map across the galaxy flickered, and thousands of systems lit up with the same sudden pulse. The same energy signature. The same silent warning. The humans were not coming from one place. They were coming from everywhere. Panic exploded. Delegates screamed. Guards fled. The speaker stumbled backward, whispering to himself, this cannot be real. Humans cannot be unstoppable. Humans cannot return. But the truth was already burning through the galaxy. Humans were not extinct. Humans were not weak. Humans were moving. The elders lowered their heads as alarms wailed across the galaxy. The council laughed. The oldest elder whispered, but now the universe will kneel. And somewhere in the infinite dark of space, unseen, unheard, unmeasured, something massive moved. And the laughter was gone. Forever. Panic spread through the Grand Council Hall like fire racing through dry grass, but no one wanted to admit it, no one wanted to speak it, no one wanted to be the first to say the truth that every soul felt in their bones. Humans were not gone, humans were not weak, humans were not finished. The speaker tried to stand tall, tried to show strength, but his legs trembled, his voice cracked, his hands shook as he yelled for order, but there was no order left, only fear, fear thick. Enough to choke the air. Fear strong enough to silence empires. While alarms blared and star maps flashed red lights, the elders stood still, staring at the council with eyes that held centuries of buried truth. The speaker finally snapped, voice breaking. Explain yourselves, elders, what did you know? What are humans? What is coming? But the elders did not answer, not yet, because they knew the truth was not meant to be spoken, the truth was meant to be discovered, and discovery would hurt more than death. The council demanded the archives be opened, the forbidden archives, the sealed vaults locked for thousands of years, vaults no one had dared touch, vaults protected by laws older than the council itself, vaults marked with a warning that everyone ignored until now: do not access human records. But fear destroys rules, and fear destroys pride. So the speaker ordered the vaults unlocked. 5 elite archivists rushed into the deep chambers beneath the council hall, through endless tunnels lit by flickering torches, down to a door made of black steel carved with symbols no one could read. The archivists tried to scan it, but scanners failed. They tried to cut it, but blades shattered. They tried to override it, but systems burned, until one archivist trembling whispered, maybe it opens only to humans. And the others froze, terrified by the idea that humans had locked away their own truth. But then the oldest elder limped forward, placed his trembling hand on the metal, and spoke in a soft, forgotten language. The door glowed, the symbols shifted, and with a slow groaning roar it opened. Darkness poured out, cold, heavy, ancient, like a grave that had waited far too long. Inside was a chamber filled with endless data crystals, dusty old files, rusted metal tablets, all marked with one word: human. The archivists grabbed the first record, plugged it into the council display, and the chamber above fell silent as the screen flickered to life, showing images of war, images of destruction, images of humans standing on battlefields against 10 mighty empires, 10 unstoppable forces, 10 civilizations that once ruled the stars, and every image showed the same ending: humans victorious every time. In 1 year humans defeated them all, not with numbers, not with size, not with luck, but with evolution, faster, smarter, harder, relentless, pushing forward. Never stopping, never surrendering, learning every enemy, adapting every strategy, turning every weakness into a weapon. The council stared in horror. One delegate whispered. They conquered 10 empires in 1 year. Another whispered. They were unstoppable. Another whispered. Why did we erase this? Why did we bury this? And the answer came from the fourth record, a message from an ancient council long dead, a warning carved in red. Humans cannot be controlled. Humans cannot be contained. Humans cannot be dominated. Humans will evolve beyond every limit. Humans must be erased. And the chamber froze because it meant the council had not defeated humans through strength. They tried to erase them through fear, but the next file shattered that illusion, a record of Earth burning, not from invasion, not from weapons, but from inside, a voluntary retreat. Humans leaving their cities, humans abandoning the surface, humans building something underground, something vast, something secret. And the final line of the record burned into every mind. Humans did not fall. Humans disappeared by choice. The speaker stumbled backward. We didn't defeat them, they left. And the elders nodded. The second elder finally speaking, voice faint. Humans left because they learned about something beyond the galaxy, something the council could not understand, something they feared more than death. The chamber shook with gasps. The idea was impossible. Humans did not run. Humans did not fear. Humans did not bow. So what could force them into hiding? What could make them abandon the stars? What could make them erase their own history before anyone could ask? Another record activated automatically, a message not from the council, not from any species, but from humans themselves, a voice calm, cold, steady. We will return when the galaxy is unprepared. The council screamed in horror because unprepared meant now, unprepared meant the warning, unprepared meant the vanished star system, unprepared meant the signal, they are coming. The speaker collapsed, whispering, this cannot be real. But it was real because the next record showed a map of thousands of systems, all marked the same way, future targets not for attack, but for return. The council finally realized humans were not simply back. Humans had been planning their return for 5,000 years. The eldest elder lifted his head, eyes filled with ancient terror, and spoke the truth no one wanted to hear. Humans do not grow stronger through peace. Humans grow stronger through pressure, through pain, through extinction, through war. And when they return, they will not return as they were, they will return as something greater. Maps flickered, red alarms blared, star systems dimmed across the galaxy, ships went silent, worlds lost communication, as if an invisible hand was sweeping across space, shutting down life like candles in a storm. Delegates collapsed in panic, screaming, humans are coming, humans are coming, humans are coming. And above them the final record displayed words that froze every heart. Humans are not extinct, humans are ascending. The speaker grabbed the table, staring in terror. What does ascending mean? And the oldest elder answered with a whisper that felt like death. It means humans are becoming something unstoppable. And at that moment every star map blinked and a new signal appeared from deep space, clear, strong, undeniable, a human voice saying only one sentence, we warned you. And the galaxy knew the joke was over, the laughter was dead, and the era of humans had begun. Terror was now a living creature crawling through every corridor of the council hall, breathing down every neck, clutching every heartbeat, and yet no one could run, no one could hide, no one could escape. The truth rising around them like a dark tide. Humans were not extinct, humans were not forgotten, humans were not gone. The galaxy had laughed at them, erased them, mocked them, but humans had not died. Humans had prepared. The alarms kept screaming, red lights flashing across the vast domed ceiling, star maps glitching as systems failed one by one, but the speaker forced his voice out, trembling, shaking, cracking. Send a scout fleet, we will find the source, we will find the truth, we will prove humans are nothing. His words were hollow, desperate, pathetic, but fear makes fools act brave, so the council launched a fleet, small, fast, armed with the best stealth tech in the galaxy. 5 sleek ships cutting through hyperspace, heading towards Sector 9X, the place where a star system had vanished minutes ago. The pilots tried to steady their breathing, but their hands shook, their hearts thundered, because they all heard the same haunting message, they are coming, and no matter how hard they tried, they could not shake the cold truth in their bones. This was not a prank, this was not a malfunction, this was not an enemy. They understood this was something older, something darker, something hungry. When the fleet arrived, the pilots gasped. The entire system was gone, not destroyed, gone, empty space, only blackness where a sun and 9 planets should have been. Space so still, so silent, it felt wrong, like a grave without a body. Sensors scanned nothing, scanners searched nothing, radar echoed nothing, even light itself seemed thinner, weaker, like reality had been erased. The fleet commander whispered, where did the system go? But there was no answer, and then they saw it, something floating in the darkness, massive, cold, silent, a shape blacker than space itself, a structure too large to be a ship, too symmetrical to be debris, too perfect to be natural, a fortress forged in shadow. The commander ordered magnification sensors, zoomed, the image sharpened, and the entire fleet froze. Carved into the black metal surface was a symbol no one had seen in 5,000 years, a circle broken by a single slash, the ancient mark of humanity. The pilots began to panic. One tried to pull away, engines roaring, but the ship didn't move, not an inch. Engines at full power, but no motion, as if space itself held them in place. The commander shouted, retreat, full thrusters, reverse now. But the ships remained locked, frozen, helpless. Then the strange structure flickered, a pulse of energy rippling across its surface, not bright, not loud, just a heartbeat, one deep pulse that shook the fleet's hulls. The pilots screamed, systems overloaded, consoles sparked, navigation screens exploded. The commander yelled, "Shut it down, shut everything down." But it was too late. The second pulse hit, invisible, crushing, unstoppable, and every engine died, every weapon shut down, every shield collapsed. The fleet drifted powerless in dead space like insects pinned under a glass. The darkness thickened, the fortress hummed, and then a doorway began to open, a massive circular seam sliding apart, revealing nothing but pure blackness, a void so absolute it seemed alive. The pilots cried out, begging command for help, but communication was gone, dead, silent, broken. The commander tried manual engines, tried emergency thrusters, tried anything, but nothing worked. One pilot sobbed, "We shouldn't have come, we should have listened, we should have listened." And then a voice crackled through every ship, soft, calm, emotionless, a human voice. "Do not follow." The pilots froze, blood running cold, because the voice did not threaten, did not shout, did not rage. It simply commanded, like a parent speaking to children, like someone far above them, someone who did not fear them, someone who did not care about them. The commander tried to respond, his voice shaking. "Who are you? What do you want?" Silence. Then the voice returned, colder, closer. "Do not follow us." And before anyone could breathe, the fortress pulsed a third time, a wave of pure black engulfing the fleet, and one by one the ships vanished. No explosion, no fire, no debris, gone, erased like ink wiped from a page, gone from space, gone from sensors, gone from existence. Back in the council hall, technicians screamed, "We lost them all." 5 ships, signal termination, no wreckage, no damage, no trace. The speaker staggered backward, face pale, eyes wide. How can a fleet disappear? How is that possible? But the elders already knew, already feared, already remembered. The second elder whispered, "They did not kill them, they removed them." Humans, do not waste energy. Humans, do not leave witnesses. Humans, erase threats. The council erupted into chaos, some delegates shouting for war, some screaming for evacuation, some demanding to hide. But then every screen, every holo, every projection lit up with a single image captured by the fleet. Before they vanished, the black fortress floating in dead space, the human mark glowing on its surface, and beneath it, translated in thousands of languages, 2 words: human stronghold. The chamber went silent. The speaker whispered, "They built a fortress out there in the void." But the oldest elder shook his head. "No," he whispered, voice full of dread. "They did not build it out there. They built it everywhere. This may not be the first, this may not be the only. Humans have had 5,000 years." Then every star map blinked, displaying new red markers, dozens, hundreds, thousands, hidden structures across the galaxy, awakening, pulsing with the same heartbeat, all connected, all human, all waiting. And the council collapsed into terror, because they finally understood the fortress was not an attack, the fortress was a warning. Humans were not approaching, humans were surrounding. And as the last map flickered, a final transmission echoed into the chamber, the same human voice, soft, steady, unstoppable. "We never fell, we only stepped away." Laughter was dead, pride was dead. The galaxy knelt not by force, but by fear, because humans were not coming back. Humans had never left, and now their silence was the loudest threat in history, and every soul in the galaxy felt the same truth: humans were unstoppable, and this was only the first sign of their return. Terror should have united the council, but terror does something worse. It exposes pride, and pride destroys reason. The speaker paced the chamber, shaking, sweating, yet refusing to accept the truth, staring at the frozen star maps, the vanished fleet, the human fortress, and still forcing himself to believe one desperate lie: humans are nothing. He slammed his fist onto the podium, voice cracking. "We are the rulers of the galaxy. We do not bow to ghosts. We do not fear myths. Humans are extinct. We will prove it." His words were broken, trembling, hollow. But the council clung to them like drowning creatures grabbing driftwood, because accepting the truth meant accepting something far worse, that the galaxy was no longer in control. While the elders stood silent, eyes heavy with sorrow, the speaker ordered a second mission, not a scout, not a probe, not a warning, but an attack, a direct assault on the human fortress. The chamber gasped, delegates shouted protests, one cried, "The first fleet vanished without a sound. How can we fight what we cannot see?" Another yelled, "Humans erased a system, we are insects to them." But the speaker's pride was louder than logic. "We must show strength or we lose everything." Strength was not what he wanted denial, he wanted proof. Humans were still weak, or still gone, or still small, anything but unstoppable, anything but real. So he commanded the release of their greatest warship, the Titan-class dreadnought Judgment Star, a vessel the size of a moon armed with worldbreaker cannons capable of vaporizing continents, surrounded by 20 escort cruisers and armored carriers. The pride of the Union, the strongest machine ever built, a symbol that the council believed no force could resist. As the massive ship was pulled from its dry dock, crowds gathered on observation decks, cheering, forcing courage into their voices, while fear hollowed their bones. Screens across thousands of worlds broadcast the launch, every citizen, every soldier, every child watching, hoping, praying that the galaxy was still safe, that humans were still a myth, that everything happening was a mistake. The elders, however, did not watch. They looked away, closing their eyes, the oldest whispering, "You cannot fight a storm by shouting at the wind." But no one listened. The fleet jumped into hyperspace, ripping through star lanes, heading toward the vanished system, toward the fortress, toward the truth no one wanted. Once they arrived, the massive dreadnought anchored in the silent void, its shadow blotting out stars, its weapons glowing with deadly light. But the fortress did not react, did not move, did not acknowledge their presence, like they were dust, like they were nothing. The admiral aboard the Judgment Star barked commands. Aim all cannons, target the structure, prepare to fire. His voice was confident, but his hands trembled. The soldiers stared at their screens, showing the fortress unmoving, silent, still more terrifying than any weapon, because silence meant certainty. The admiral shouted, "Fire!" The worldbreaker cannons unleashed a beam of pure annihilation, brighter than suns, hotter than hell. Reality itself bent around the blast, space rippling as the energy tore toward the fortress. And then something happened that broke science and shattered hope. The beam disappeared, not blocked, not reflected, not absorbed, simply erased, like a drawing wiped from a page gone. The soldiers froze. The admiral stuttered, "Fire again, full power." A second blast tore through space and vanished. A third blast gone, a fourth gone. The fortress didn't flicker, didn't shake, didn't react at all, as if the greatest weapon in the galaxy was nothing more than a breeze brushing past a mountain. Suddenly every light on the Judgment Star flickered. Alarms screamed, engines died, shields collapsed, weapons shut down, communications cut off, oxygen systems stalled, life support failed. The dreadnought went silent, dead like a corpse drifting in space. Panic erupted, soldiers clawing at controls, screaming for help, slamming emergency switches, but nothing worked, nothing responded, nothing acknowledged their struggle. The fortress pulsed once, a deep low thrum vibrating through the dead ship, rattling bones and breaking sanity. Then a voice came through the darkness, calm, quiet, human, return the way you came. The admiral gasped. "We cannot move, systems offline, we cannot retreat, help us." Silence. Then the voice returned, colder, heavier, "Leave our path," the admiral shouted. "We came to negotiate, we came for answers." But the fortress spoke one final time, "Humans, do not speak to those who do not listen." Before anyone could breathe, the entire dreadnought flickered, its massive hull becoming transparent like a ghost, dissolving into fragments like light, unraveling until the ship vanished, gone, without fire, without explosion, without death, simply erased from existence like it was never born. Every cruiser, every escort, every carrier vanished seconds later. The entire fleet gone. In silence, back in the council hall, officers screamed, "We lost the Judgment Star." All escorts, all signals terminated, no debris, no wrecks, nothing. Hysteria ripped through the chamber. Delegates fainted, others sobbed, others ran, collapsing in hallways. The speaker stood frozen, trembling, pale lips shaking as he whispered, "This is not possible, nothing is stronger than the Judgment Star." But the oldest elder turned to him, voice low like thunder buried in earth, "Humans are." The speaker snapped, "We must fight, we must gather every fleet, every weapon, every world." But the elder shook his head. "You cannot fight a force that does not see you as an enemy. You cannot win a war that does not involve you. Humans are not striking, they are warning." The speaker shouted in madness, "Warning of what?" And the elder answered with a truth colder than death, "Warning that they are not coming to conquer, they are coming to move, and anything in their path will cease to exist." At that moment every star map flickered again, and a new signal appeared, hundreds of new red markers pulsing in every direction, fortresses waking, fleets rising, systems going dark, and one final message appeared across every screen, across every world, across every mind: "Humans have returned, not to bow, not to speak, not to fight, but to ascend." And the council finally understood too late. The rule they broke was not a threat, it was a mercy. The humans said, "Do not follow." And the galaxy learned the price of ignoring them was erasure. Now the universe stood trembling, because humans were unstoppable, and this was not their attack, this was only their first step forward. The council hall was breaking apart, not from fire, not from weapons, but from fear, pure crushing fear that twisted stomachs, dried throats, and turned every proud leader into a shaking child. The speaker stood frozen, staring at the empty star maps, staring at the vanished fleets, staring at the silent void where their greatest warship once existed. His voice gone, his pride shattered, his certainty dead around him. Delegates screamed, ran, begged, some collapsed to the floor, whispering prayers to gods that never answered. Others pounded on sealed doors, desperate to escape a truth that could not be escaped. Humans were unstoppable, and no one knew why, no one understood how, no one could imagine what they had become. While the chamber drowned in panic, the elders stood still, untouched, unmoving, like statues carved from old nightmares. Their faces pale, their hands shaking, their eyes haunted. The speaker finally turned to them, voice small, broken. You knew this would happen, you knew humans would return. Why didn't you warn us, why didn't you tell us the truth?" The oldest elder lifted his head slowly, his voice trembling not with age but with memory. "We did warn you, you laughed." The speaker shook his head, tears in his eyes. Not this power, not this erasure, not this disappearance. You knew something more, something worse. Tell us everything." The elders exchanged glances, deep silent glances filled with pain and guilt and history. The second elder took a breath and spoke. 5,000 years ago, before the council, before the union, before the galaxy crowned itself king, humans were already here, not weak, not primitive, not small. They were explorers, scientists, builders, a race that learned faster than time allowed, a race that broke limits, a race that refused to die. The hall went silent, even the alarms seemed to hold their breath. The elder continued, "We met them once, we stood before them, we spoke with them, we watched them rise, and we watched the galaxy fear them, but we did not fear their weapons, we feared their minds, because humans did not accept impossible. Humans changed impossible." The speaker frowned, voice shaking. "If they were so strong, why did they vanish? Why did they leave the stars?" The oldest elder closed his eyes. "Because something else came, something darker than war, stronger than empires, something that hunted them, something that could not be fought with weapons, something that forced them to retreat." Gasps echoed across the chamber. What was it? What enemy could force humans to run? The elder shook his head. "We never saw it, only the aftermath. Worlds burned, civilizations erased, humans bleeding and broken, but even then they did not surrender, they did not kneel, they did not die. Humans turned their entire species into a weapon of survival. They adapted, they evolved, they changed themselves, they became unstoppable." The council trembled. The idea was too big, too heavy, too horrifying. Humans running from something stronger than them, humans preparing for 5,000 years, humans turning into something beyond species, beyond evolution, beyond logic. The third elder whispered. "They built fortresses in the void, they hid their technology, they erased their presence, they watched us grow weak and arrogant, they waited." The speaker croaked, waited for what? The elder answered. "For the moment the galaxy forgot them, because humans grow fastest in silence, humans rise strongest in shadows, humans win by surprise." The council's blood ran cold. The elders had known not just the past but the future. The sixth elder leaned on his staff, voice filled with grief. "We begged the ancient council to leave humans alone, to erase records, to let them disappear in peace. Humans did not want war, humans wanted time, but the council did not listen. They tried to control humans, tried to monitor humans, tried to threaten humans, and humans reacted not with rage but with preparation." The speaker collapsed into his chair. "We caused this." The elder nodded slowly. "Humans never forgot the threat, humans never forgot the council's arrogance, humans never forgot the galaxy's laughter, but they did not seek revenge, they did not return to punish, they returned because their enemy, the one from the beginning, the one that almost destroyed them, will return." The hall froze, every heart, every mind, every breath frozen. The speaker whispered. "So humans are not coming for us," the elder replied. "Humans are coming for something else, something worse, something that will erase the galaxy if humanity fails." Silence heavier than death filled the room. The fourth elder lifted a shaking hand, pointing to the star maps. "The vanished system was not attacked, it was relocated, because humans are clearing territory, they are making space, they are building a path, preparing a route for their next move." Suddenly every screen flickered again, a new pattern glowing across the maps, thousands of systems dimming, going offline one after another like falling dominoes. The technicians screamed. "It's spreading, whatever humans activated is spreading across the galaxy." But the elders did not panic, they only looked sad. The oldest elder whispered, "This is not destruction, this is construction." Voices rose in terror. "Construction of what? What are they building?" And the elder answered, "A superstructure, a highway, a network, a path through space, something to move not ships but civilizations. When the true enemy arrives, humans will evacuate worlds, they will move species, they will carry life beyond this galaxy." The words hit like a hammer. Humans were not unstoppable because of strength, humans were unstoppable because they were planning to save the galaxy. The speaker shook his head. "Why would they save us? We laughed at them, we erased them, we tried to destroy them." And the elder whispered, "Because humans do not decide worthiness based on respect, humans decide based on survival. If life can be saved, they will save it, no matter how cruel that life once was." The chamber fell silent again, not from fear but from shame. The speaker dropped his head, whispering, "We mocked them, we feared them, we attacked them, and they—" His voice broke. "They came back to protect us." The elder nodded. "Their message was not a threat, it was a warning. They are coming." Was not about humans, it was about what hunts humans. Suddenly every star map went black, every screen died, every signal collapsed, total blackout. The chamber trembled, lights flickered, and then one final transmission appeared across the darkness, a single message in ancient human script translated into every language: "We are not your enemy, we are your shield." And the galaxy finally understood the most terrifying truth: humans were unstoppable not because they wanted power but because they carried a burden no other species could face alone. The council had laughed, the galaxy had mocked, and now all they could do was kneel and pray. Humans were strong enough to win again, because if humans failed, the universe would not survive, and this was only the beginning of humanity's return. The galaxy tried to breathe, but the air felt gone, like space itself was shrinking, like every star was holding its breath, waiting for something enormous, something inevitable, something human. The blackout spread across thousands of systems, lights dying, engines failing, weapons shutting down, as if an invisible hand was sweeping across the universe, silencing technology, silencing power, silencing pride. Panic exploded, fleets scrambled, leaders screamed, civilians cried, but nothing worked, nothing responded, nothing obeyed. It was as if the galaxy itself had been unplugged, drifting helpless, blind, terrified. Then slowly, painfully, the star maps flickered back to life, not all at once, but in pulses, steady, rhythmic, like a Heartbeat, a heartbeat that did not belong to the council, did not belong to any empire, did not belong to the galaxy. That heartbeat belonged to humans. Every system that powered back on displayed the same signal and energy signature, impossible by known physics, stronger than a supernova, but controlled, contained, focused, moving toward the center of the galaxy, moving toward the council, moving toward judgment. Then the sensors triangulated the source, one object, a single massive shape entering real space. From beyond known territory, from a region where maps ended, where stars died, where galaxies blurred the void, the technicians stared in disbelief, voices cracking. It's not a fleet, it's one ship, one single ship. The council erupted. Impossible, nothing that large can be a ship. But denial shattered when every camera, every telescope, every orbiting satellite caught the same image, a colossal black silhouette tearing out of hyperspace like a mountain ripping through reality. The size was incomprehensible, larger than cities, larger than moons, larger than anything that had ever moved. A ship so vast it blocked constellations, its shadow swallowing stars, its presence bending light, its hull smooth black, silent, with no engines, no heat, no signal, no motion, yet drifting forward like a planet with purpose. Fear crushed the hall, delegates choking on their own breath. The speaker whispered, "What kind of ship is that?" And a technician answered with a trembling voice, "Human, sir, it's human." The cameras zoomed, millions watching across the galaxy, staring, praying, screaming as the enormous vessel rotated slowly, revealing glowing white symbols etched across its metal skin. Two words, bright as starlight, burning into history: human. Ascend. Silence followed, heavy, suffocating, unstoppable. The ship did not broadcast a threat, did not open weapons, did not signal intention. It simply existed, and its existence alone was overpowering. Armies wept, empires crumbled, children clung to parents, soldiers dropped their guns, because this was not a warship, this was a statement. Humanity was here, and they were beyond anything the galaxy had imagined. The speaker struggled to speak. "What do we do? Fire, talk, run, what do we do?" But no one answered, because no one knew how to interact with a force that erased systems with a whisper, destroyed fleets with a pulse, erased warships without noticing. The elders, however, did not scream, did not collapse. They stared with hollow eyes, because they had seen something like this before, long ago, before the galaxy forgot, before the council rewrote history. They had seen a human vessel ascend for the first time, and they knew what it meant. Humans had completed their evolution. The ship drifted closer, still silent, still cold, still calm, but every second it approached, power surged across systems, engines flickered alive, shields rebooted, weapons reactivated, not by the council, not by command, but by the ship's presence, awakening technology like a god, breathing life into machines. Some species cheered, thinking humanity came as allies. Others panicked, thinking this was conquest, but neither was true. The truth was far greater. The sensors detected something unbelievable. The ship was not made of metal, not made of alloys, not made of anything known. It was organic, partially alive, a fusion of biology and machinery, a living vessel. A species turned into a star-faring organism. The galaxy had built machines, humans had become them. Then, without warning, every communication channel ignited, flooded by pure static, then reshaped, twisted, focused into a single broadcast, a voice, not loud, not angry, not emotional, calm, steady. "Human, we have returned." The council froze, soldiers froze, entire worlds froze, because the voice was too controlled, too patient, too certain. No rage, no cruelty, no triumph, just absolute clarity. The speaker whispered, "State your purpose," his voice barely audible, barely alive, and the voice responded, "We do not seek war, we do not seek rule, we do not seek the past, we seek only the path forward." These words made no sense, too large, too vague, too calm for such power. The speaker forced out the question the whole galaxy trembled to hear, "Why did you come back?" The voice answered, "We came because time has ended." Confusion rippled through the hall, but the elders understood. Their faces turned pale as death. Humans had not come because they wanted to, humans had come because they had no choice. The voice continued, 5,000 years we prepared, 5,000 years we waited, 5,000 years we listened." The council trembled. "Listened to what?" The voice replied, "The enemy that hunts existence, the enemy you cannot see, the enemy we cannot escape." And then suddenly, without warning, the ship opened a single window, a slit across its hull, revealing a glimpse inside, and what the galaxy saw was not soldiers, not weapons, not commanders, but thousands of other species. Inside, young, small, frightened, being carried, protected, guarded like children of the universe, not prisoners, not slaves, refugees. The galaxy gasped as the truth hit like a meteor. Humans had already fought the enemy, humans had already fled the enemy, humans had already rescued survivors from other galaxies, and this ship was not a weapon, this ship was an ark. The speaker fell to his knees, whispering, "Humans are not invincible, humans are running." But the oldest elder shook his head, "No, humans are not running, humans are returning to lead us." The voice spoke one final sentence, the moment that shattered every remaining illusion, "Prepare, the galaxy must move or the galaxy will die." And then the ship's core ignited, unleashing a light brighter than stars, a beacon summoning something enormous, something ancient, something unstoppable. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, not as victims, not as legends, but as the only force standing between the universe and extinction, and the galaxy finally understood. Humans were unstoppable because they were the last hope, and this arrival, this single ship, was only the beginning of a storm that would decide the fate of existence itself. Silence ruled the galaxy, but it was not peace, it was paralysis. Billions of hearts frozen, trillions of minds trembling, every species, every world, every empire staring at the impossible truth hanging before them like a dark moon. The human ascend vessel drifting in the void, massive, silent, alive. The council tried to process what they had seen, but their thoughts shattered like glass because everything they believed collapsed in a single instant. Humans were not extinct, humans were not weak, humans were not alone, humans were carrying other species inside their ship like a lifeboat in the darkness, like a shield against something none of them could see. While fear suffocated the council, another force burned hotter than fear. Pride, and pride is deadly. The moment the ship arrived, a powerful faction known as the Dominion of Vrax, a war-obsessed empire sitting on the outer rim, activated their military commands. The Vraxian warlord laughed at the human broadcast, mocked the warning, spat on the Elder's truth, and declared the words the galaxy would regret forever. We do not bow to ghosts, we do not kneel to myths, we do not accept human power. His voice roared across the network while his fleet's armed weapons targeting the ascend vessel, and the council screamed, "No, stop, stand down, do not provoke them." But the Vraxian warlord ignored every plea because arrogance blinds fools, because ignorance feeds pride, because the Vrax believed strength came from noise, not silence. They mobilized the largest strike fleet the Rim had ever seen, thousands of warships armored, bristling with cannons, engines burning with fury, all aimed directly at the humans. The galaxy watched in horror. The council begged the Dominion to stop. The elders whispered broken prayers, and even the speaker collapsed, clutching his chest, because deep inside every soul knew the truth. Humans did not attack unless pushed, humans did not strike unless cornered, humans did not destroy unless they had to, and the Vrax were forcing their hand. The Dominion fleet surged forward, weapons charging, shields flaring, targeting systems locking onto the massive human vessel, and the warlord snarled across open channels, "Fire everything, destroy the myth." The universe held its breath as the Dominion unleashed the strongest weapon ever forged, a planet crusher beam, a blast capable of turning worlds to ash. The beam tore through space, a blazing river of destruction screaming toward the human ship. Every sensor blared, every star flickered, every species collapsed into terror, waiting for an explosion, waiting for impact, waiting for fire and death and war, but none came. The beam touched the human vessel and vanished, not deflected, not absorbed, not blocked, vanished, erased as though it never existed. The Dominion panicked, their systems glitched, their weapons rebooted. They fired again and again and again, each blast more desperate, more violent, more terrified. Every attack disappeared into nothing, like a child throwing stones into a black ocean. No sound, no ripples, no mark. The elders whispered, "This is not defense, this is indifference." Because humans were not blocking the attack, they were ignoring it. The Dominion fleet fell silent, confusion turning to dread. The warlord screamed orders. Full assault, break formation, overload the cores, destroy that ship now. The Dominion fleet surged forward, preparing to collide, ramming speed, engines screaming, metal burning, desperation exploding into madness. But before they moved a single meter, space itself shifted, time seemed to bend, reality seemed to slow, and then it happened. The ascend vessel emitted the smallest movement, the slightest pulse, a gentle flicker of white light, no louder than a heartbeat, no brighter than a candle, and in an instant the entire Dominion fleet turned to dust. Not explosions, not fire, not wreckage, dust, ships crumbling into ash, drifting like gray snow across the stars. Billions watched, screaming, sobbing, shaking, because they had never seen a weapon that quiet, they had never seen death without sound, they had never seen power without anger. The Dominion was gone, erased in a whisper, every commander, every soldier, every warship gone like they were never born. The council fell to their knees, eyes wide, minds broken, because this was not war, this was demonstration. Humans did not kill to win, humans killed to warn. The ascend vessel remained silent, motionless, peaceful, as if nothing had happened, as if the destruction of a fleet meant less than a breath. The council speaker trembled, voice barely a whisper. "What are humans now? What have they become?" And the oldest elder spoke the truth. "Humans have become the line between existence and extinction." Then, without warning, every communication channel opened again. No static, no chaos, only a single human voice, calm, steady, unshaken. "Violence was not our choice, violence was your decision." The galaxy felt those words like knives, because the humans were not boasting, not taunting, not raging, they were simply stating fact. The voice continued, "Humanity does not seek conquest, humanity does not seek revenge, humanity seeks survival." Then came the sentence that shattered the last wall of denial, "The enemy that hunts us has found the galaxy." The council collapsed into screams, the elders' eyes filled with tears. The speaker clutched the podium, shaking uncontrollably, because the truth was finally undeniable. Humans were not unstoppable because they wanted to rule, humans were unstoppable because they were preparing to fight something no one else could see, something no one else could face, something coming for all life. The voice spoke again, "Time is short, the galaxy must choose, stand with us or fall alone." And then the light on the ascend vessel brightened, filling the stars, illuminating space like dawn breaking over a dead world, and every species, every leader, every soldier knew the same truth. Humans were not the danger, humans were the shield, and the real enemy was close, closer than anyone feared, and humanity was the only power strong enough to face it. This was not humanity's revenge, this was humanity's responsibility, and the demonstration of power was not an attack. It was a promise that if the Galaxy stood in their way, it would vanish, but if the galaxy stood beside them it might live, and for the first time in history the universe bowed not in fear but in hope, because humans were unstoppable, and they were unstoppable for everyone's survival, not just their own, and the storm was coming fast. The galaxy had always believed the greatest terror was death, the greatest enemy was war, the greatest fear was extinction, but now every world, every empire, every species understood a colder, deeper truth. The real terror was ignorance, because for 5,000 years they had laughed, mocked, erased, denied, and while they laughed humans were preparing, while they mocked humans were building, while they erased humans were evolving, and now the truth was no longer a secret, no longer a myth, no longer a warning. It was here, it was real, it was unstoppable. The Ascend vessel hung in silence like a black star at the center of existence, its light pulsing slow, steady, calm like the heartbeat of a titan. While trillions watched with shaking hands and hollow eyes, the speaker collapsed onto the council floor, whispering to himself, "We thought we were gods, we were children, we thought humans were weak, we were blind, we thought we ruled the galaxy, we ruled nothing." But shame did not slow the coming storm. Reality itself trembled. Star by star, system by system, transmission towers across millions of worlds flickered before activating on their own, projecting the same image into every sky, every home, every chamber, every battlefield. The human ship towering over the void, and a voice echoing across the universe. Humanity speaks for the last time. Silence followed, but it was not empty, it was heavy, full, suffocating. Every heart froze, every breath stalled, every soul braced. Then the voice continued, "We did not return for power, we did not return for vengeance, we did not return for the past, we returned because the enemy has arrived." The galaxy shook as sensors across the outer rim detonated with alarms, readings. Impossible energy waves, unknown gravitational distortions tearing through the fabric of space like claws ripping open the skin of reality. Scientists screamed, armies scrambled, children cried, stars flickered like dying candles, because something was moving at the edge of existence, something older than galaxies, something larger than empires, something that did not conquer, did not negotiate, did not think, it only consumed. The council stared as the star maps updated, blinking red, an expanding boundary of distortion swallowing systems whole, not destroying them, erasing them like they never existed. A delegate choked. "What is that thing?" An elder whispered. "The reason humans vanished." The speaker trembled. "The enemy that hunts them." The elder nodded. "And now hunts us." Panic ignited across the galaxy, fleets launching weapons, arming, shields rising, but it was useless against something beyond matter, beyond light, beyond time, and humanity knew it. The human voice continued, "We fought it once, and we lost, we ran, we rebuilt, we ascended, and now it has followed us here." The galaxy collapsed into horror. The idea was unbearable. Humans hadn't abandoned the galaxy, humans had led the enemy away, and now the galaxy's arrogance had called them back. Humans had tried to delay the end, but the council had laughed, and now the end was here. The voice spoke again, calm, steady, unstoppable. "The galaxy cannot fight this alone. You cannot win a battle you cannot see. You cannot stand against a force beyond existence. But we can, because humans had not evolved for conquest. Humans had evolved for survival, for adaptation, for endurance, for impossible odds. Humans were shaped by catastrophe, forged by extinction, tempered by fear. Humanity was not powerful because they wanted to be. Humanity was powerful because they had no choice." The elders wept, tears falling onto the marble floor, their voices trembling. "We should have listened, we should have trusted, we should have believed." But regret could not stop what was coming. The distortion expanded again, swallowing 3 star systems in a heartbeat, leaving nothing but silence where stars once burned. The speaker screamed, "What do we do? What can we do?" And the human voice answered, "The galaxy must move." Confusion erupted. "Move, move, where, move, how? Move, why?" And the answer arrived not in words but in vision. The Ascend vessel split open like unfolding wings, revealing an interior larger than planets, vast corridors, luminous chambers, endless cities suspended in light and gravity, an ark not for humans alone, but for all life, for every species, for every child, for every hope. The voice spoke, "We built vessels across the void, thousands of them. The strongholds are not weapons, they are gateways, pathways to another universe, a safe universe untouched by the enemy, untouched by extinction, untouched by fate." The galaxy gasped. These fortresses, these silent structures, these terrifying monoliths were not prisons, they were lifeboats, not warnings, they were salvation. Humans had not surrounded the galaxy to conquer it. Humans had surrounded the galaxy to carry it with them, because humanity was not abandoning life, humanity was preserving it. The voice continued, "Those who choose survival step forward, those who choose pride stay behind, those who choose denial will vanish." The council collapsed in shame. The speaker sobbed, "They came to save us." The elders whispered, "They came because they care more about life than power." But not everyone was ready. Some empires raged, refusing to kneel, refusing to trust, refusing to follow humans. After centuries of arrogance, they would rather die than admit they were wrong. The voice answered them, "Without anger, without threat, without cruelty, choice is the only freedom in existence." Then something unimaginable happened. The Ascend vessel generated a golden bridge of light spanning across galaxies, a pathway opening between dimensions, a portal vast enough for entire worlds to pass through, and humans did not step forward first. They waited, they stood aside, allowing others to lead, allowing others to choose, because unstoppable power meant nothing if used for domination. Humanity was unstoppable because they chose compassion over conquest. Billions across the galaxy broke into tears because they finally understood humans were not superior. Humans were responsible. Humanity was the shield. Humanity was the caretaker. Humanity was the final wall between existence and oblivion. And then the voice spoke its final message: humanity will fight the enemy here. Humanity will hold the line. Humanity will not run again. And the galaxy realized with horror and humans were not leaving to escape. Humans were staying to protect them, staying to face the void, staying to sacrifice themselves. The speaker whispered, "You're not coming with us," and the voice answered, "We began this fight alone, we will end it alone." The elders fell to their knees. "Humanity will die." And the voice replied, "Humanity does not die, humanity endures." Humans were unstoppable not because they survived, but because they refused to let anyone else fall. The Ascend vessel turned away, its engines igniting with blinding white fire, aimed toward the darkness, toward the distortion, toward the enemy. The galaxy screamed, begged, pleaded, but the humans did not stop. They moved forward into the void, carrying war into the unknown, and as the first refugees crossed the golden bridge, as worlds began to escape, as the universe trembled, the final transmission echoed through every star, through every soul, through every corner of existence: "Do not remember us as gods, do not remember us as monsters, remember us as the species that stood when the universe fell." And then the humans were gone, swallowed by the darkness, marching into the impossible, alone, unstoppable, because humanity was never about power. Humanity was about sacrifice, and the galaxy wept because they finally understood the oldest truth. The elders tried to speak, humans were unstoppable, and now they were the only hope existence ever had.